You are trying too hard. Not at the wrong things, at everything. Every decision carrying the full weight of your attention. Every mistake followed by a trial that never ends. Every outcome needed to be a specific way before you allow yourself to feel okay. Every effort requiring recognition before it feels worth making. Every opinion someone holds about you living, rent-free in your mind for longer than it deserves. You are gripping your life so tightly that you cannot feel what is actually in your hands. And the tighter the grip, the more exhausted you become. The worse the decisions get, the harder everything feels. The further away the version of your life you actually want seems to be. And here is the part nobody tells you. The grip is not making things better. The grip is the problem. Think about the last week. Not the big things, the ordinary ones. How many conversations did you replay after they ended? How many decisions did you second guess after making them? How many outcomes did you need to go a specific way in order to feel like the day was worth something? How many times did you lie awake running through something that had already happened and could not be changed? How many times did you edit what you said or did not say based on how you imagined it would be received? How many moments of your actual life did you miss because you were somewhere else in your head, processing something, worrying about something, holding something? Most people who feel overwhelmed are not overwhelmed by their life. They are overwhelmed by the weight they have assigned to their life. And those are not the same thing. Your life, the actual events, the actual demands, the actual circumstances, is almost certainly more manageable than it feels. What is not manageable is what you are doing with it inside your head. The endless processing, the catastrophizing of ordinary difficulties, the prosecution of past mistakes that are already over, the anxiety about future outcomes that have not arrived, the continuous monitoring of how you are being perceived. All of that invisible internal labor is costing you something you cannot get back. Energy, attention, presence, the capacity to actually be in the moments of your life rather than perpetually somewhere else. And here is what I want you to consider. What if the solution is not to try harder, not to be more disciplined, not to develop better systems or stronger habits or more rigorous routines? What if the solution is the opposite of everything you have been trying? What if the solution is to care less? Before we get to what caring less actually means, we need to look honestly at what you are currently attached to. Because the attachments are specific, and until you can name them, until you can see them clearly for what they are, you cannot begin to release them. The first attachment is to effort. You work hard at something. You invest time, energy, thought, care, and it goes unnoticed. Or the result does not match what the effort deserved, and something collapses inside. Not just disappointment, something deeper. A deflation that makes the effort feel retroactively worthless, like it only counted if it produced the expected return. Like the value of what you did was determined not by what you did, but by how it was received. This is attachment to effort, and it is one of the most reliable ways to eventually stop trying, because effort that requires external validation to feel meaningful will eventually encounter a situation where the validation does not arrive, and when it does not, the person attached to it takes that as a signal that it is not worth continuing, that maybe they were not as capable as they thought, that maybe the effort was never going to be enough, and they stop. Not because they could not do it, because the reward they were working for disappeared. The second attachment is to outcomes. You need things to go a specific way, not prefer, need. And when the outcome is different from the one you required, the response is not adjustment, it is collapse. Because the outcome was not just something you wanted. It was the condition under which you would allow yourself to feel okay. And you do not feel okay, so everything stops. The third attachment is to mistakes. Something goes wrong, and the event ends. But the prosecution begins. The replay. The what if. The what does this say about me? Running on a loop, long after anything useful could possibly be extracted. And this continuous internal trial, where you are simultaneously the accused, the prosecutor, and the judge, is not learning from the mistake. Learning from a mistake takes minutes. This takes years. And the verdict never comes. Because the goal was never resolution. The goal, unconsciously, completely counterproductively, was punishment. The fourth is attachment to victory. This one is never discussed, because it does not look like a problem from the outside. You achieve something, you build something, you win something, and you should feel it. But instead, before the feeling has even arrived, something else does. What if I lose it? What if I cannot repeat it? What if this is the best it gets? The win that was supposed to produce relief produces anxiety. Because the moment it arrived, you attached to maintaining it. And anything that threatens the achievement now threatens who you are. So the thing that should have felt like arrival feels like the beginning of a new kind of fear. The fifth is attachment to perception. What people think, what impression has been formed, what the imagined audience is concluding about you. Most people are living at least partially inside an audience that exists only in their own head, making decisions based on the imagined reaction of imagined observers, editing themselves continuously, managing the impression rather than simply being the thing, and the energy spent on that management. Is energy not available for building the thing that would make the impression irrelevant? Here is what carrying all of that actually produces. Not in theory, in daily life. The person attached to outcomes makes worse decisions because they are not making decisions based on what is actually in front of them. They are making decisions based on what result they need to produce in order to feel okay. And that need, that background pressure to get the outcome right, introduces a kind of tension into the decision that clouds the judgment. The person attached to mistakes cannot move forward cleanly because they are always carrying the weight of what went wrong before. Every new attempt shadowed by the last failure. Every risk calculated not just on its own merits, but through the lens of what it would mean to fail again. The person attached to perception cannot be genuine because they are always performing, always monitoring, always slightly behind the mask rather than in front of it. And the person who cannot be genuine cannot build genuine things, cannot form genuine relationships, cannot do genuinely good work, because all of those things require showing up as yourself. And the person who is attached to perception has never fully decided who that is. They are too busy managing who other people think that is. And the person attached to victory, the one who cannot enjoy what they have built because they are too busy protecting it, has discovered that winning feels almost identical to losing, just with better scenery. All of these attachments have the same effect. They remove you from the present. They place you in a permanent state of evaluation of yourself, of your performance, of your outcomes, of your standing. That is exhausting. That is debilitating. That makes simple things feel complicated. That makes action feel risky. That makes rest feel impossible. That makes life feel like a performance review that never ends. You know people like this, the ones who move through difficulty without being consumed by it. who make decisions without requiring certainty first, who fail at something and are back at it within days, who receive criticism without being defined by it, who win something and enjoy it before they start worrying about losing it, who seem to exist at a different temperature than everyone around them, not cold, not indifferent, just unbothered by things that destroy everyone else. And most people look at those people and assume one of two things: that they do not care as deeply, or that they haven't yet failed badly enough to understand the stakes. Both assumptions are wrong. The people who seem not to care almost always care deeply about the work, about the direction, about the things that actually matter. They just care about almost nothing else. They have, either deliberately or through hard experience, learned to separate what deserves their full emotional weight from what does not. And that separation, that ability to give the truly important things everything and give the rest of it significantly, deliberately, almost ruthlessly less, is not indifference. It is precision, and precision in where you invest your emotional energy is one of the most powerful advantages a person can have, because the person who cares precisely, who reserves their deepest investment for what actually deserves it, is operating with full capacity in the moments that matter, while the person who cares about everything equally arrives at those moments already spent. Now we can say it clearly. Caring less is not giving up. It is not emotional numbness. It is not the performed indifference of someone who has been hurt enough that they have decided nothing will be allowed to matter anymore. That is not caring less. That is a different kind of attachment, just pointed in the opposite direction. Genuine caring less is detachment. And detachment is one of the most misunderstood words in human psychology. It does not mean disconnection. It means freedom. The freedom to be fully invested in what you are doing, to bring your complete attention, effort, and care to it, without making your emotional state conditional on the outcome, to try completely and hold the result loosely, to make the effort its own reward. Not in a passive, resigned way, in the genuinely liberating way of someone who understands that the only part of any endeavor fully within their control is the effort, not the outcome, not the reception, not the lasting impact, not what anyone concludes about it, just the effort. And the person who can separate those two things, who can invest fully in the controllable and release the uncontrollable, has access to a quality of engagement that the attached person never reaches, because the attached person is always managing risk, always calculating the cost of the investment in terms of the expected return, always holding something back in case the return does not arrive. The detached person invests completely, because the investment is not contingent on the return. The investment is the point. And from that place, from the place of full investment, without attachment to the outcome, the work is better, the decisions are cleaner, the recovery from failure is faster, the enjoyment of success is genuine, the presence in ordinary moments is real, because nothing is being withheld, nothing is being managed, nothing is being monitored, just the work, just the effort, just the movement in the direction of what actually matters. The past is over. This sounds obvious. It is not obvious to the part of your brain that keeps returning to it, that keeps reconstructing the moment, running the alternative scenario, extracting a verdict from an event that already ended. Here is the honest truth about what you are doing when you ruminate on a mistake. You are not processing it. Processing takes minutes. What you are doing is prosecuting. And the prosecution continues, not because justice requires it, but because some part of you believes that if you punish yourself sufficiently, If you replay it enough times, feel bad about it enough times, demonstrate to yourself how seriously you're taking it. You can retroactively undo it. You cannot. The event happened. It is fixed, immovable. No amount of internal prosecution changes a single detail of what occurred. The only thing the prosecution changes is you. By keeping you in a past that no longer exists, at the cost of a present that does. A mistake has information in it. What went wrong? What you would do differently? What the situation revealed? That information can be extracted in minutes. Everything after the extraction is not useful. It is just painful. Extract the lesson. Apply it forward. And release the event. Not because it did not matter, because it is over. And living inside something that is over is the most expensive real estate available. Here is something worth sitting with, honestly. Most of the outcomes you are most attached to are not fully within your control. Not because you are not capable, but because outcomes never are. You can influence them. You can work toward them. You can create the conditions that make them more likely, but you cannot guarantee them. And the person who has made their emotional state conditional on a guaranteed outcome has made their emotional state conditional on something that does not exist. This is not pessimism. It is accuracy. And accuracy about what is and is not within your control is one of the most liberating realizations available. Because the moment you stop needing the outcome to be specific, the moment you release the grip on the result and redirect that energy into the process, two things happen. The work gets better, because you are no longer making decisions based on what result you need to produce. You are making decisions based on what the situation actually requires. And you become more resilient, because your emotional state is no longer held hostage by something outside your control. It is anchored to something that is always within your control. What you did, how you showed up, whether you brought your full effort to what was in front of you, that is yours, regardless of outcome. And the person whose self-assessment is anchored to what they did rather than what resulted from it cannot be broken by a bad outcome. They can be disappointed. They can be frustrated. They can grieve a loss that was real, but they cannot be broken, because what they are anchored to is still intact. Here is what life actually feels like when the grip loosens. Not in theory, in practice. Decisions become easier, not because the decisions become simpler, but because you're no longer loading them with consequences they do not carry. A decision is just a decision, not a referendum on who you are, not a prediction of your entire future. Just the best available choice with the information currently in front of you. Made. Moved on from. Mistakes become smaller. Not because they matter less, but because they are the size of mistakes rather than the size of character indictments. Something went wrong. Here is what I learned. Here is what I am doing differently. Done. Not forgotten. Done. Other people's opinions become quieter, not because you stop caring what people think entirely, but because you stop giving imagined opinions the same weight as real ones. And even real ones from people who actually know you, who actually see what you are building, land differently when you're not waiting for them to tell you whether you are okay, because you already know whether you are okay. You were there for the effort. You saw how you showed up. Their opinion is information, not a verdict. Victories become enjoyable, for the first time possibly, because you are not immediately defending them, not immediately calculating how long they will last, not immediately building the anxiety about the next thing that needs to be won. Just, this happened, this is good, this is mine, for now, and now is enough. And the ordinary moments, the Tuesday mornings, the unremarkable afternoons, The evenings that contain nothing significant start to feel different, fuller, not because they contain more, because you are actually in them, not somewhere else in your head, not processing yesterday, not anticipating tomorrow, just here, in this, which it turns out is where everything actually happens. Here is what changes behaviorally when the grip loosens. And this is the part that matters most, because caring less is not a passive state. It is not doing nothing. It is redirecting. The energy that was going into managing outcomes goes into the work. The energy that was going into prosecuting past mistakes goes into the next attempt. The energy that was going into monitoring perception goes into being genuine. And the person who is genuinely invested in the work, who is not managing, not monitoring, not prosecuting, not gripping, that person produces something qualitatively different from the person who is doing all of those things simultaneously. They make bolder decisions, because the cost of the wrong decision is no longer catastrophic in their mind. It is just a wrong decision, which contains information, which leads to a better next decision. They take more risks, not reckless ones, considered ones that the attached person would have avoided because the potential for failure felt unbearable. They recover faster because they are not carrying the last failure into the next attempt. They start things without waiting to feel ready, because readiness is no longer the prerequisite. Just starting is. They finish things because the quality does not need to be perfect before it can be released. It just needs to be done, and they show up as themselves, not a managed, monitored, carefully calibrated version of themselves, just themselves, with all the messiness and imperfection and genuine humanity that entails. And that authenticity, that quality of someone who is not performing, not managing, not gripping, is one of the most attractive qualities a person can have in every context: professional, personal, social. People are drawn to the person who is clearly not trying to impress them, who is clearly invested in the work rather than the reception, who moves with the easy confidence of someone who has decided that the effort is enough and the outcome is whatever it is. That person wins. Not because they stopped caring, because they stopped caring about the wrong things and redirected everything into the right ones. You came to this video gripping something, maybe many things, outcomes you needed to go a certain way, mistakes you have not yet given yourself permission to release, efforts that went unrecognized and left a residue, victories you cannot enjoy because you are too busy defending them, opinions you have been performing for even though the audience exists mostly in your own head. And I want to say something before we close. The grip is not keeping you safe. It is keeping you exhausted. It is keeping you from the decisions that require boldness, from the work that requires full investment, from the moments that require genuine presence, from the version of your life that is available when you stop trying to control everything about it. Caring less is not giving up. It is not indifference. It is the deliberate, precise decision to give the truly important things everything you have, and to give everything else. The outcomes you cannot control, the mistakes that are already over, the opinions that were never yours to carry, the victories that do not need defending, significantly, deliberately, ruthlessly less, because the person who does that, who moves through life with full investment in the effort and genuine looseness about the outcome, is not someone who has stopped trying. They are someone who has finally started living, and living fully, presently, with the grip loosened and the hands open, is the only version of winning that actually feels like winning. If this made sense to you, you already know why you're here. We'll talk again.